that's all text. Yeah. When we were talking, I was like, okay.
We try to do everything open source.
I'm gonna do it now.
Stay away from it. That's why I also like as well.
Oh, yeah.
I just realized I could simple function using like aliases, so I'm going to start removing all of my shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up on this. Sure, but it should have that's a string.
So that's in trying to Google as well. Or getting rid of the big boys is hard. It was okay. I finally got a lot of the work automated for creating some stuff for my Python class.
All right, I think we'll get started. I'm gonna just put the microphone there. All right, you're here for San Diego Python. You're in the right place. If you're here for something else, best of luck. You're not in the right place, but you're welcome to stay. I'm David. I'm one of the organizers. I do want to thank the Qualcomm learning development, or Qualcomm engineering development, sorry, that team, and Drew and Erivan and Moises for helping just host us and have us here and all that kind of thing. So that's really great. I also want to thank my co-organizer, Jeremy, in the green hat there, who helps line up all the speakers and make sure we have a good meetup. He's also one of the speakers of last resort, so, you know, become a speaker. Yeah. Also, I want to thank Neo4j for providing the food. Hopefully you saw the pizza when you came in. There's a gluten-free pizza also, if that's your jam. Neo4j provides a graph database that for certain types of operations can be orders of magnitude faster than a traditional relational database. You can download it and run it yourself, or you can run a managed version in the cloud of your choice. Jason, do you want to say a couple words? All right, Jason from Neo4j is going to give us a few words. I did, but you know.
Cool, thanks. Hi everyone, my name is Jason. Thank you, David, for the introductions. And yeah, so I am a developer advocate for Neo4j. We are a graph database company, as David had mentioned. I see quite a few familiar faces, so Neo4j and graph databases isn't entirely new to this group, but for those who haven't had the pleasure, I'll just show you real quickly what a graph database is, which is about as fast as me talking about it. So what I'm going to do is just take this video recording that David did last month of last month's meetup, and I'm going to put it into this experimental knowledge graph builder that our team has been working on. So how this works is I'm just going to take a link to a video and just put it in there. I've done it already, so I'll save us the minute processing time that it takes. But what this app does is it, of course, uses the power of LLMs, and it takes the text, the transcript of the video, and breaks it into a graph data set. And that graph data set, when it's imported, will look somewhat like this. So this is the data model of the graph, right? So this is all the shape of the data, the schema. The actual data itself looks like this without the relationships. So a graph database, the thing that makes it most different from other databases is the relationships, these edges that connect different entities. So they are the contextual representation that binds entities. So like, for example, I'm an entity, right? I'm a person. Everyone here is a person, hopefully. And the meetup is an abstract entity, right? So all of us, we are attending, or we're participating in this meetup, right? So that relationship of us attending this meetup, that's the edge, right? That's the red thread that's in like a TV crime drama that connects a photo of one of us to another. Okay, so that is the core difference with a graph database, is the storage of those relationships. And when you have those relationships, you can query against them, right? So what I've got here is, just looking at the data that was extracted from the video, I saw here that there's a lot of concepts entities. So if we just do a single hop search for all the concepts and all the relationships that it binds to, you can see this interesting shape of data. I'm not going to cruise through this, and this is actually not super interesting because it's a single hop query, which any database can do quite well. But the fun part of so I'm not connected to a database. Oh no. Okay, so I can't show you this, but the interesting part of a graph database is you can do multi-hop searches much easier, right? So all I would have to do is go up to here, and I would add in basically a variable indication showing how many hops I want to go. So instead of just pulling all these direct connections, I can pull in a whole subgraph of multi-hop entities. So anyways, cutting it short, so graph databases are really good for multi-hop questions, basically many-to-many questions. So recommendations, fraud detection, anything where the complex relationships is key to the data, that's where graphs shine. Okay, so if you want to learn more, you can come talk to me after the meetup or check out our Graph Academy courses. It's an online free course catalog, and if I still have connection, there is a section for Python developers under development. So here there are a set of Python courses. I thought it was right here. But anyways, if you log in and you go click Python, there'll be a whole set of courses just for Python developers. Okay, that's enough of me. I'll hand the mic back to David.
All right. Oh, I'm going to switch video to the other thing. And if you're on the live stream, I'm going to mess with the microphone. All right. Cool. All right. Cool. Couple other announcements before we get started on speakers. We have a Saturday meetup as well. It's Saturday at 10 a.m. It meets on Discord. It's a little bit different than this meetup. This meetup, we have a speaker lineup, that kind of a thing. The other one is online. It's bring your own laptop. You work on your own project, but there's other people who you can collaborate with on a project or chat about a project or something like that. It's usually a little more free form than this one in that, this one has a agenda and a lineup and the other one doesn't. But yeah, check it out. Saturday, 10 a.m. All the info's on the webpage and stuff like that, which I guess I will get right into. The webpage is sandiegopython.org. Has links to the Discord and links to the YouTube, which is, this is being streamed there. If you ever miss a meetup or you forgot about, you remember something from a meetup, but you can't remember the specifics, you can go back to the video. It's there. Also, if you want to ever get involved on the website, sandiegopython.org, it's up on GitHub, and there's people on the Discord happy to guide you if you ever want to work on it. You'll probably talk to me. I'm usually the person who works on that. The YouTube channel, which is also linked from the website, it's YouTube/@SanDiegoPython. As I mentioned, there's a Discord there. There's a jobs channel in the Discord. That is useful if you're looking for a job or posting a job. You can, I'll probably give a minute or two to talk about jobs right here, but you can all kind of look around. There's about 30 people in the room. You're only going to reach 30 people by mentioning it here, but if you say it on the jobs channel in the Discord, people are going to check that over the month. There are hundreds of people in that channel. Not all of them looking at everything every day, but if you post your job there, it's much more likely to get interest. However, since we're talking jobs, does anybody's company hiring and they want to give a brief blurb about the company and the position that they're hiring for? Anybody's company hiring? Rough job market? All right, well, check out the jobs channel. Tough crowd. No, that's okay. I do want to talk about a couple upcoming Python conferences. So PyCon US was earlier in the month. Did anybody here go to PyCon US? Hey, we have somebody. How was it? Great. All right. Cool. So I like to highlight both the big Python conferences as well as some of the small ones that are coming up. So I'm just going to mention a couple of those. Wagtail US is next month. It's in June 20th to 22. It's in Philadelphia. Wagtail is a CMS, I hesitate to make this analogy, but like a WordPress that's built in Django and Python where you can kind of add whatever you want. You could write Django apps for plugins and that kind of a thing. Anyway, they have a whole conference for it. North Bay Python is also next month. It's June 29th. It's in Petaluma. Quite a drive, but if you're up there, it might be a cool thing to show up. And Pi Ohio is in July. So that's in Cleveland. It's July 27th to 28th. So just wanted to mention those. I love highlighting like the regional ones. Sometimes when you're in like another city, you can always, maybe you get lucky and there's a Python conference there, or you can kind of make a trip out of it or something like that. I also wanted to, again, highlight the whole like you can be a speaker kind of a thing. The meetup really runs on speakers. Like, we have to find 3-4 speakers every month. And I'm the speaker of last resort, so I'm highly motivated to find speakers who are not me. So if you want to be a speaker, there's a link to like become a speaker on sandiegopython.org, the website. And basically you just fill out this form. Here's my topic, And the talks don't have to be long. You can do a 7-minute talk. It's totally fine. All skill levels. So whether you want to talk about something, the issues you had setting up your Python environment, great talk. You've done some like niche optimization to pandas, also a good talk. So, the whole spectrum and everywhere in between is fine too. So, yeah. One last shout out. I want to shout out just our sponsor, JFrog. I don't have a giveaway from them this month, but they've been great. And so I'll just mention them. They're a DevOps platform for continuous releases. And for example, if you need to host a PyPI inside your company firewall, that's what their product does. So yeah, check it out. Cool. Without, I guess, further ado, I don't think I missed anything. We'll go to Ray, who's our first speaker. And Ray Lutz is going to talk to us about lightweight 2D data frames using Daffodil. All right. So hopefully, this is the HDMI.
Okay, perfect.
This microphone goes to the room. This one goes to the stream. And hopefully, things just work. And I'll switch you over. Do you have audio coming out of the laptop or no?
No. Okay, good. I can see it there. So my name is Ray Lutz. I'll introduce in a second. I'm going to talk about Daffodil. We came up with a cute way to spell this out. DataFrames for optimized data inspection and logical processing. Spells out Daffodil, so that's kind of a cute thing. I know everybody likes that. My background is I have a master's degree in electronics engineering and software. Computer engineering was my second degree. And I have a lot of experience in document processing, image processing, also did some medical device development. And now I'm a developer of a thing called Audit Engine, which is a ballot image auditing platform for doing election audits. With that said, how many people here have heard of DataFrames and that's about it? One person. How many people here use them quite a bit? Okay. Heavy users use them all the time. Okay. And mainly interactively, no real code thing, but just use it through NumPy only. Okay, no one. And mainly using a larger Python project or other type of project, that's what you're doing? Okay, good. So that's a lot of people that do it that way. So you may actually find this extremely interesting. I'll get into why this is important in a few minutes. Let me just tell you what it is first. This is a 2-dimensional data structure in Python that uses native Python data types. So it doesn't port it over into some new environment with NumPy data types or other kinds of things, not Rust, not other language Go. It's still all in Python. So the transfers are very fast. There is a main data array, which is a list of lists. The contents of each element in the list can be just a scalar, or it could be something more, an object, a list, a dictionary of lists, whatever you want. So it can be flat, and flat is nice according to Python rules, but it also can be nested, all right? And then there is I do have an arrow. So up here we have column names like a regular data frame has, and this is placed in a thing called HD, which is a dictionary of indices. So all it is names with indexes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the data type, and it's part of what I'll get to called a key list. This part over here is a set of row keys, which is optional. And I'm going to power through and then do questions at the end because I know it's going to take me probably too much time, but I do want to get questions. But I'll probably cover it too. These row keys are usually a column out of the array, and the column stays in the array. And if you want to use it, it gets copied into a dictionary. There's also data types at the top here. For each column, you can optionally assign a data type. And that's used for when data is imported from, say, a CSV file, and the data is then unflattened and turned into data types, Python data types. It can be lists, dictionaries, whatever it is, it becomes unflattened. And then when you're writing it out, you will flatten it, okay? But other than that, you don't really need that because each one of these cells has its own data type, attached to it. That's how Python does it. There are indices here, 0, 1, 2, 3, all the way down. These do not stick with the data. They are part of the array. And whereas the column names and the row keys sticks with the data. So if you move columns around, the column names are going to move with it, same with the rows. So those stick with it. Okay. Now we think, why not use pandas? Isn't it a good thing for this? That's what I was working with and had to use this instead, because here's the problem. Let's say we want to read from a list of URLs and summarize web pages. So we're going to do one at a time. We go through, we set up a blank data frame. We go through all the URLs in the list. We go to the web page and read it out. And then we try to append it onto a data frame. This won't work. Pandas has deprecated appending. Even if you did like to do it, it's super slow. So you can't use that, all right? So instead, what you can do is say, okay, I'll use a list of dictionaries, keep it within Python type world, build it, and then put it into pandas. That's what they recommend doing. So then we could go through the list. We start with a list of dictionaries. We set that to empty and append to it one dictionary at a time. This works fine. But then when you transfer into a data frame, it's very slow. I'll show you that in a second with tests. But then what are you doing with it? Nothing. All you're going to do is write it out anyway. So why do it? Why transfer it into pandas if you're not going to do something? And we weren't doing anything most of the time. Sometimes we were, but very little. So here's the problem you see here with transferring, and I'll get into this more later, but going from a list of dictionaries into Daffodil takes 139 milliseconds to do a 1,000 by 1,000 array of integers, a million integers. We're going to just import that into Daffodil so we can work on it. Going into pandas, it takes 5,624 milliseconds, 5.6 seconds to do this one time. So that was a problem in our use case. We didn't want to have to suffer 5 seconds just to import fairly large arrays, especially if we weren't going to do very much with them. The other problem was down here, you see the size. So here in the Daffodil is, well, let's start with pandas, 9.3 megabytes to hold this. It's fairly economical to hold a million integers. Not as good as NumPy, which is only 3.9 megabytes to store that. But you can see a list of dictionaries is 119, really big. Daffodil's a medium, 38.3 megabytes to store that. But here's what happens. As soon as you add one string to a pandas array, one column is strings. Their array goes up to 98. Daffodils stay out at 38.5. Can't do it with NumPy. They don't really support strings. They can do a little bit, but not to any great extent. So that's out. So essentially, you're losing with its time and size. Now, if you're doing a lot of sums, standard deviations, all kinds of stuff on your array, at least 30 times for any one array, then you'll finally win. You finally make this up. Because it does cost more to do those. So if you're doing, let's see here, doing a sum of the array here, let's see, sum columns, 191 is a good time for Daffodil. It's only 4 for pandas. So you're losing there by using Daffodil. But it's going to take you 30 times to make up that 5 seconds. And NumPy, you see, is that's also nice. Their transposition is super fast. It's very bad here. And we got second hands up already. Maybe we should do that. Let's quick questions only. No arguments, okay?
Just an idea of for the transpose. If you just swap those two dictionaries, literally just do the swap operation on those two dictionaries you have for HD and KD. Your transpose would also be free, just like it is for pandas.
We can talk about that. I don't think it is, but because the list of lists is already set up with one dimension the same way. Let's go on. We'll get back to these times in a second. So now if we use Daffodil, what does it look like? We initialize the array. We get the web page metadata dictionary, and we append it to that. And we don't have to do the data frame. We just write it out to CSV and we're done. So the difference is here that appending to, and I should go back and point out one more thing, searches, a keyed lookup is way faster in Daffodil than it is Pandas. Inserting rows and columns is way faster. So if you're manipulating the array, putting columns in, putting rows in, appending to the bottom, or searching using the keyed lookup, because dictionaries are really fast, then you're going to win with Daffodil. Depends on what your use case is. So this is as simple as it is, and I made it, so I wanted to make it easy to use for me. And so I just get, a lot of times I get a record, and I want to append it. Let's go on. We have indexing that's really rich in Daffodil, meaning that you have a row and column index, and you can put different things in here. You can put integers in here, and then it would be the row and column indices of that array. You can put strings in, which would then be the column names or the row keys, or a list of integers, which would be the individual indices, or a list of strings, which would be the column names, whatever you have up here, or the rows. You can use slices, which would go from this to this in either the integers, or strings, but you can't, strings are a little bit different because you have to go from a closed range, like go from column C up to and including AB, because you don't know what the next one is, right? So you can't use the open range like Python usually does. But you can use -1, go to the last one, -2 before the last one, and all that we're used to using this indices. You can leave out the column if you're not going to do anything with it. So if you say, I want to choose these rows, give me a list of rows, it creates a new Daffodil array, but it doesn't do any copying. It takes the lists that are there and it just has references to the same lists. It has a reference to the same key dictionary. There's no copying done. That's why it's fast. Pandas does copying all the time. It always makes new arrays. And that's not done, not always. It's very fast, but it's just different. Here are some examples. So we're going to start with creating a Daffodil empty array, append some dictionaries one at a time here. It's the way I'm showing it. And this one's got mixed up, but it still goes in the right order. This is the output if you just say my daf, and this is what you get. It's markdown. So it would be a markdown output. Of course, that's rendered, but you'll see it the other way in a second. So then here are some examples of the keying if you can hopefully see it. Here's 0:2, which means the first 2 rows. It takes first 2 rows out. It makes a new Daffodil array without copying anything. It's just references back to the old data. Okay. And you could take a list of 0:2, which means take the first one and the third one. Take the number 1, take, Now we're doing columns, the 0, 2, and so forth. Here's a list of the indices. Rush through this. If you put a tuple A comma B strings, that means a slice of strings. So it includes that last one because we can't predict what the next one's going to be. And so you get the idea. You can also set to value, like if you have my DAF with nothing in there, just both of them blank, it's equals 4, then it sets everything to 4. If you say you want to set to the first 2 columns, rows, etc. So you can set whatever you want and say, I want to set these rows to a value. That all works. Skip this one. So let's work on adding a key column here. I just added the category column, and I'm setting that to be a key field, meaning it's going to go over to that side lookup, right? It's going to become a dictionary lookup. And I'm going to add a few more records here just for fun. It adds them in order. And you can see that last one is goofed up, so it still put them in the right order. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add 2 dictionaries, but they are car and house, which is already in the list. And since that's a key field, it treats us like a database in a way. You're saying I want to update those records. So car and house, get new numbers in them according to that. So it overwrites them if you do it that way. If you don't set the key field, it just adds them to the end. It's allowed to use to do it. If you want to select based on a fairly complex, say, conditional, select all the records where the column C is greater than 20, or whatever complexity you want, because we have all of Python to express here. I don't need to make up a lot of new functions, dot sum, dot this and that. I use regular Python. So that way, Daffodil can be very, very lightweight. We use all the existing Python functions. And you can see here it chooses the ones that are greater than 20. Select a record by the key. If in this case here, my DAF, and you select car, that's going to select the record with the string car. In that first record, that is that row coordinate. And it is going to convert that to a dictionary. You don't have to put the column. It's going to select all columns, so that's missing. And then it's going to normally give you a whole Daffodil array, but you can say, I want to change that into a dictionary. And so you'd use that, but you can also use toList, toValue. And if you use toList, it doesn't copy anything. It just uses a reference to the list that's there. We'll look at that in a second. So common usage pattern is that you would get the data from a comma separated values file, let's say, and you would apply data types. What that does is unflatten anything that's in there that needs to be unflattened. Strings come in as strings. You don't have to do anything, so it skips all those. And you can set it not to skip those if you want, but normally it skips those. And then you say, if it's a string that's supposed to be an integer, it'll convert that to a float, to lists, to dictionaries, or to whatever complexity you want. And the way it does that is it JSON encodes anything that's complex, and further goes ahead and pickles it if it can't JSON, if it's not JSONable. You end up with an array that's very, very kind of predictable in how the data types come in, which is what really helped me out. Being able to predict exactly what the data types were going to be and being able to test those with regular Python tests. So here you would get the original row, you would transform it, build a new array, and flatten it, and then send it back out to a comma separated values file. Or you can do it with an apply, or you can stack them up with dots if you want to do it that way. So I find myself, especially when these get a little bit complex, we talk about reductions where you can reduce it. I'm seeing 5 minutes. Okay, go on. So we avoid copies. So there's a core technology, which is a keyed list inside. And so I'm going to probably skip this in the interest of time. But what this does is it allows you, let me show you an example. So if you create a keyed list, this one, and you have values, you can write the values into essentially into the dictionary. What you would think of as a dictionary, you can't do this with a regular dictionary. You can't say, I've got a values list and I want to put it into the values. This works. It puts it into the values, and then if you change B, for example, then it actually ends up changing the list. So the list in the dictionary is the same as the list that we had before. Reading CSV is really fast with Python as it is, so all we got to do is change the D types, as I mentioned. And then we have many of the same pandas functionality. The append here, you might be able to see this, has been deprecated in pandas, and that's been a big problem for us. Inserting rows, they don't really make that available. You can do it, but I mean, all these, you can do this with pandas. You can force fit things, but it just is not elegant. And so you get the idea that we do a lot of these. And so back to this one, we have, I did cover this most of the way, I believe, last time. So what happened to me was I searched around for what I could do an alternative to pandas, and I ended up with this. Essentially, Daffodil is faster than pandas for array manipulation. So if you want to append rows, insert columns, and perform keyed lookups, it's better. It's smaller if you use strings, any kind of strings. If you've got mostly strings in your project, then Daffodil is really good. If you have all numbers and they're already there, you don't have to build them, and you're going to do tons of math on them, then use the other things. Probably NumPy is really good. Status is, it's open source. We got it on PyPI, and I got the core design very complete, and I've been using it. The thing is that we don't have to have lots of functions that are already available in Python. And so those are already there. Let's see. And we've used it in Audit Engine. And so I do have a puzzle for extra credit, anybody who wants to try this. We have a big summing function, and it just one row, summing one row. And there is this line, if value equals null string, continue. And in the other one, the only difference is if instance value comma string, which is it a string? And it's not there, meaning it's a null string, continue. Same exact meaning, but the second one takes 10 times longer. So I haven't figured this out yet, but these are both fast if you do them on their own. But if you put them in a loop, something is weird here. So I don't know why. This is for extra credit. Anybody who wants to try this, see me afterwards. Okay, so I'm done. And we've got a couple of minutes for questions maybe. Do I have time for questions? Okay. Any questions? We had some hands up before. So. There was a hand up there before that you had a hand up. Did I answer it? Yeah. Ah, okay. See, I told you. Anybody else want to ask any questions? Okay, well, I covered it really well then. No questions. Okay, so fantastic. So if you are interested in this, talk to me. I'd like to have some more different use cases that we can try it with to see like what you need specifically, and then we can see if we can adjust the UI a little bit for whatever that is, because I'd like to see other use cases. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Ray. Our next speaker is Abraham Borg, who's going to talk to us about software development with ChatGPT.
Yes.
All right. So this is the HDMI.
Okay.
If you have HDMI, it should magically work. What you'll see there is exactly what's up there in these two TVs.
Cool.
Nothing is there right now because you haven't plugged it in yet.
That's right.
this cable.
And then, like, these are the microphones. So just talking to them. Do you have audio coming out of the laptop?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
And hopefully it just, the magic just happens. The magic is happening.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm really excited and I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm talking about my favorite topics, so this should go by easy. Let me go ahead and start this. I don't know why this is happening. Okay, so my name is Abraham Borg. I've been using ChatGPT for a lot of my projects, and I have imposter syndrome all the time because I program less and less. But I really feel like this is a skill set that I want to have, and I want to share it with all of you. And it is a skill set. Okay, so agenda. I'm going to introduce myself, then we're going to do a live demo, which is a bad idea, but I think it's going to work. And then hopefully you have some questions. Oops. Like I said, my name is Abraham. I just got a job finally, May 6th. It's, like I feel good now, like everything's going to work out, But like, it's weird when you finally get that thing you wanted. Like, I don't feel happy yet. So. Like, give me 3 months, So, yeah. Also, I was just talking to you about your project because I really love chess. So that's how we hit it off. That's another thing about me is I love chess. I play chess way too much, and a lot of my projects are about chess. Okay, so that's enough about me. So big picture, let's just say that software design is requirements gathering, system design, implementation. I don't know why I'm looking at my screen. It's right here. Deployment, testing, maintenance. So I'm just gonna do this very fluidly. I think that's how it's gonna be. You're just gonna be going back and forth. It's not gonna be structured so much anymore. And you'll see once I start what I mean by that. So, live demo. First, let me explain the project. I've got a sample project here. So my fiance, and maybe others have experienced this, she's got these great ideas about apps. Oh, you should try this. And sometimes it's like, I think you're describing Fandango, or something like that. And so, but she did have this great idea a while ago, and she's been bugging me to do it. And it's because she's a poli-sciner. She really loves political science. She teaches political science. And one thing that she loves is C-SPAN. So for people who don't know, C-SPAN is just kind of like they show government, like House of Representatives and whatever's going on there. And they publish something called the directory of, how do I share? You know what? Oh, that's right. Like, what? Hold on. What? Why can't you see my image? I'm trying to. Oh, I'm trying to share this photo.
Oh, you probably just have to drag it over.
Drag it over.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to just pop this up.
So if you like drag the whole window over to the right, because I think you have,
Oh,
this is one screen and that's the other screen off to the right.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So like you can just drag that over.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. Anyway, it's gonna be tricky. Oh my god. What was I thinking? Okay. All right. So yes, C-SPAN publishes something called the Congressional Directory. So it's just a big book of like facts that people love. Like if you're a political science nerd, it's got things about all the people, the senators, and all kinds of stuff. So the problem is it's only a paper copy, and I've reached out to C-SPAN. They don't have anything other than the paper copy. So she said, please do this so it's a website and I can go look at it, I can add to it, et cetera, et cetera. And to top it off, I want to be able to do analysis on certain facts and figures. And so, yeah, that's basically it. And I'll show you some of, this is tripping me out. I'll show you a couple more. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so this just has a map. It's got some other stuff, right? This is key. This is information about all the different politicians. Anyway, that's the summary of the project. So now let's continue. Okay. All right, here we go. So let me pull up ChatGPT. Here we go. Okay, what's going on? Maybe I should just close out of the presentation, because I don't really think I need it anymore. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start this chat with, you know, like a basic prompt. And I'm not going to be typing the whole time. I've got a workaround that I just figured out last night. And I was really stressing out, like, how am I going to do this live and type? But I figured it out, so it's all good. So I'll just start the initial prompt. I'm building a web app for my fiance. She wants to have the congressional directory from C-SPAN. Oops. Online. Let's stop there. I'll just upload. I'm not going to be typing the whole time. I'll just upload the documents and then we'll get started. And I'll explain everything. So I'm just going to make sure to upload all these documents because I don't want to do that in the middle of this, this presentation like I'm doing right now. You know, I tested this last night and it was able to analyze all the images at once, but like it's really buggy sometimes. Okay, cool. So anyway, I just got the process started. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my phone because I figured out that you can talk to your app and then it'll show up on the screen. So it's a little wonky, but that means I won't have to type. That means I can just talk and it's going to talk back to me, but not in that nice voice because it's not out yet. It's going to be the old voice. It's not going to be Scarlett Johansson's voice, not yet. Probably never. Probably never because of what happened. So anyway, we're just going to assume that this is correct because in the interest of time, you know. Whoops. Yeah, we're just going to assume that's correct. Now I'm going to go to my phone. I'm going to start describing what I want to do with this app. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Funny that it didn't create an array of images and just name them like a beginner programmer would, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I guess because it kind of still is, huh? It's not as good as it can be, but it will be better than all of us, guys. Okay, so let me get started here. All right, so let's talk about that project. My fiance, she's a poli-sci major, and we're gonna build this app for her. You know, she's very ambitious, and it's actually a pretty big project. But this congressional directory has images of politicians, facts and figures. It's kind of structured. Every page from senators to governors has a structure. It's not always consistent. Also, there are maps. There are like tables. There are all kinds of numbers and figures, and she loves that stuff because she's going to be able to analyze it. And anyway, let me backtrack a little bit. I'm pretty sure I want to use Django. I know Django pretty well, but I'm open to ideas later. Uh, right now, what I need from you right now is to just summarize your understanding. I'm sure you're familiar with the C-SPAN directory. Just tell me in your own words what you think I'm saying, and then we're going to get started. We're going to dig in and figure some things out. Please work.
Got it, Tito. You and your fiance are planning to build a comprehensive web application based on the C-SPAN Congressional Directory. This directory contains structured information about U.S. politicians, including governors and senators, along with maps, tables, and various statistics.
Sorry, I have to stop. So, as you can see, it's there, right? You can see my screen. I'm stopping it because it reads kind of slow, and it's not like in the demo where you can say, "Hey, read faster." You know, that's not out yet. I tried it. It reads faster for like the first sentence. Oh, ChatGPT, forget about everything I just said. I just realized I was recording. So, okay, let's continue. I'm thinking we're gonna need, I don't know, like, well, first we're gonna need to deploy this thing, and I really like using DigitalOcean. It's super easy. I know that we probably should do something like containerize it, and there's all kinds of like best practices, you know, but I like to do things down and dirty and then figure it out later. Probably we can use some kind of SQL database, but you know, I've heard about this thing. It's called a graph database. So let's, oops. It's bugging out a little bit.
All right, Tito. Based on your latest input, here's a refined understanding and a suggested approach for moving forward with your project. 1. Initial development. We'll start by setting up the project in a straightforward manner, focusing on getting the core functionality up and running.
Okay, that's good. Now, as I was saying, we should probably think about implementing like a graph database, but I don't really know how that works. So I'm gonna need you to like write up a document. Give me like a Word doc, and just like explain, go in depth about why it might be a good idea. And I'm thinking it might be a good idea because I saw this presentation and this guy was saying like if you have entities and like there's facts and they all connect, and maybe that's a good idea. I don't know, but don't go into it right now. Just write that report, put it in a Word doc because I'm gonna download it later. We're going to talk about it. But anyway, so I want some ideas. I know that I'm probably going to have to, you know, like extract this information from images. All I have are images because C-SPAN doesn't have a digital PDF or anything. They won't give it to me. So I'm going to be feeding you images, and you're going to be extracting the structure. You're going to be, you know, doing a lot of the work for me. So, and I'm gonna be telling you what I don't like. So, proceed. I don't even know if I made sense. It's a lot.
Understood, Tito. I'll prepare a detailed document on the potential benefits and implementation of a graph database for your project. For now, let's focus on the immediate tasks: extracting and structuring the data from the images. Here's a brief overview of the steps we'll take. OCR processing. Extract text data from the images using OCR. Data structuring. Organize the extracted data into a structured format such as JSON or CSV.
Okay, yeah, let me download that Word doc though. Just put it up. Okay, now we're gonna continue. I'm thinking she really likes to do data analysis. So how would we, let's just think about this. How would we put this data in like a table, like maybe SQL, or like we were talking about graphs. And how could I do like some analysis? What stack would I need? I was thinking maybe like Dask, because that's like Python based, and I'm guessing that works well with Django. But also maybe I don't need that because I know that you can do like JavaScript, just straight up JavaScript, um, and have it work with Django somehow. Um, Probably we can use like this thing I heard about called Daffodil, because it's like text based, but I don't know. Um, One thing is I've been talking a lot, and I need to be able to share this with other people. So I need you to organize everything we've talked about, because I need to show my boss something. It's a big mess right now. So after you share your thoughts with me, I want you to put everything in a very clear way, make sense of everything we've talked about, put it in a Word doc so that I can say that I accomplished something. It's true. It's true, guys.
All right, Tito, let's break this down into clear steps and organize everything we've discussed into a comprehensive plan. I'll then compile everything into a Word document for you to share with your boss. Here's a summary of our discussion and my recommendations. Project overview. Objective. Develop a web application for analyzing and displaying data from the C-SPAN Congressional Directory. The application will support detailed data analysis, including the potential use of a graph database. Technology stack. For the main web framework, due to your familiarity, PostgreSQL as the primary SQL database for structured data storage. Front end. For dynamic interactions, potentially using frameworks like React or Vue.js for enhanced user experience. Additional tools. Dask for efficient parallel computation.
Okay. Wow. I don't like programming, guys. So this is awesome. This is what I'm talking about. Like my imposter syndrome is just at its highest, because I swear half the time I'm just doing this. I'm just like, what am I? What am I now? Am I even a software developer anymore? So it does a pretty good job at summarizing things, and then sometimes it doesn't work, like now. But I tested this out. I think I kept the Word doc from last night. I don't know why I would throw it away. Okay, it works, guys. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. No, seriously, it does. Now, one last thing. I'm gonna wrap this up. When you use ChatGPT, your chats can get really long. And I had this idea not too long ago. It's one of these ideas where you're like, why didn't I think of it sooner? So I was always struggling with just super long chats where I'm scrolling and scrolling, trying to find what I was doing. And I thought, maybe like ChatGPT can write a prompt for me. It's like, yeah, I was like, duh, probably you guys already knew that. But it was mind-blowing to me. So I'm going to have this write a prompt so I can jump over to another chat, because what I found out is you take a deep dive into the initial chat like we've done here, and then you say, okay, we're going to start a new chat, and on that chat we're just focusing on this one thing, and that's it, right? So you can break apart your project. So that's what I'm going to do now. See if it works. Okay, so we've talked about a lot in this chat, and I want you to write a very detailed, thorough prompt. I need it to be like 10 paragraphs, okay? And I want to be able to simply cut and paste this prompt into the next chat so that I can get started And the focus of that chat is going to be, I want to upload some photos of, like of the senators and all their information. And I want to start building some web pages, just like, just kind of working out what I'm going to make it look like. So that's the focus. So again, make a very detailed prompt so that I can simply paste it into a new chat and I can get started. And anyway, just give it your best try.
Sure, Tito. Here's a detailed prompt for your next chat to get started with uploading photos and building web pages for the senators. Hello, ChatGPT. I am working on a web application project with my fiancé, who is a political science major. We aim to create a comprehensive web application based on the C-SPAN Congressional Directory. The application will include detailed information about U.S. politicians, specifically focusing on senators, and will support data analysis and visualization. I need your help to get started with uploading.
I couldn't write a prompt that good. So yeah, once I figured this out, like this is great. So I'm going to just simply copy it in. And like this is how I work. I just copy stuff in and I just do the bare minimum. No, guys, but that's what makes a great programmer, right? Just to be super lazy. Yeah, so it's describing a technology stack, PostgreSQL, and some other stuff. Yeah, it's not that great yet, guys. I'm very disappointed in ChatGPT. What's funny is, I don't know, when was it? Last year, 3.5 came out. It's just like, wow, dude, this is incredible. Oh my God, my mind was so blown. I couldn't program for like, what is it? Is that 8 minutes? 9 minutes. I couldn't program for like months. I was just like, I'm done. Like, what do I even do now? Like, this thing is so awesome. Now I'm like 3.5. You wouldn't catch me dead using that. It sucks. So anyway, as you can see, like, again, we'll just say it's correct, but it did a really good job, right? I simply pasted in the prompt, and now I'm ready to go in a fresh chat that's not super long. And also, you have to keep in mind the token length limit, which is not as advertised. Okay, it's not as advertised, I can tell you that. So yeah. Last night, as I was preparing for this, I was thinking like, yeah, next week it's going to be different, next month, But it's important to stay nimble. I was like thinking about things like what GitHub is doing, which is, Copilot, and they've got this new service now. I forget the name, GitHub Workspace. I hope that's correct. I could probably look it up. Whatever. But I think it's still valuable to be able to just start with an LLM raw and just know how to talk to it and, boss it around. It's like, it really is like because I call it a skill because you have to know when to give it a lot of detail, when to hold its hand, and then when to just riff and like, it'll figure it out, it really will. Excuse me. Okay, what was I talking about? Okay, let's see. So, yeah, let's see. Yeah, okay. So, what do you guys, got any questions?
So when you work with ChatGPT, did you do a good demonstration of how you actually use it? Like, because you weren't really focused a lot of times, in your So do you use it like that or do you
Yes.
not?
I use it exactly like that. I didn't initially use it like that. I was very like formal with it for a long time because I didn't really appreciate that it can do a lot on its own. So now I talk to it almost as if it's a person because it's getting better at just following along, and then it does something what it does one thing really well, which humans are horrible at, which is taking a bunch of information, where you're just spitballing with somebody, and then at the end you have to put it all in an organized way. Like, what did we even talk about? We've been brainstorming, and we just got this big mess on the whiteboard, and so but you can have that with ChatGPT, and it'll summarize it for you. It'll figure it out, and it'll put in a neat little Word document. It works.
Follow-on question, how many people in here, raise your hand, use ChatGPT like that? I don't use it exactly like that. Nobody. Similar. Slightly? How many people use it at all? Okay. A lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. If you take nothing else away, is be less formal with it. Oh, go ahead.
I do have a question. Do you combine ChatGPT with another AI tools? For example, you do research for sources, like Perplexity, for example, like, oh, find me API to the sources, and you put this prompt to ChatGPT.
Yeah, so whenever I'm working on something that, excuse me, my throat is so dry. Whenever I work on something that I need to be able to, check whether it's hallucinating or not, I do say, hey, where'd you get that information? I put in the prompt. I rarely combine LLMs. Like, what I might do is some code it wrote isn't working, and I don't want to figure it out, so I'll give it to Gemini, But that's it. I mean, they're all kind of the same, They're kind of. So yeah, I don't mix and match. But yeah, as I was saying, I hope the main takeaway today is be less formal. Just know that you can push it. I mean, you can push it a lot harder than you may have realized. And yeah, and I hope I don't even know. Okay. So thanks, guys. Oh, and any more questions? No? Okay.
I have a question. Were you able to use this methodology and move it toward actually reducing code, like maybe Python program, like type of code, or were you just working on like requirements documents?
No, code, everything. So what I just showed, that's like me just talking it through, knowing that I'm going to come back and really slow down and then actually accomplish things. But
did you produce a thing of getting the C-SPAN?
No, I'm going to do it eventually. I keep telling my fiance, yeah, I'm working on it. Yeah, okay.
You got a question?
Oh, go ahead.
Have you built anything and tested anything, like unit tests or?
Yeah, unit tests.
Or
What is
any
that?
kind of test? Have you built
What is
something
that?
and tested it for actual?
Yes, I did. I just finished up this project. How do I summarize it? So schools, they really struggle with energy efficiency, and there's all kinds of grants. And anyway, what is that? A minute left? Anyway, I did. It worked. Okay. So should I close up now?
Have you applied to be a stand-up comedian? This is a very funny.
Oh yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
Just that was your stand-up
Thanks, Abraham. Drake, you're our last speaker tonight. So Drake's our last speaker, and Drake's going to talk to us about Discord, the quick start to meetings. Is that the right title? All right. And hopefully everything just works. I've used ChatGPT on things that I actually tested. It had some issues, but was generally okay, and it did help. I think you can ask it a lot, but you can, I found it to be more useful the less I knew about the subject. But sometimes, like, I feel like I'm just talking while we're getting set up. I'm not trying to monopolize the time. Where I really had like my ChatGPT moment, or like, one of those LLMs that was running in my editor. I was building something that like assembled a bunch of images together in rows and columns and like put them together with the Python imaging library, something I don't use. I don't really use the Python imaging library. And I wrote like for image in, rows, columns, or something like this. And it just auto-completed my whole thing. And it was correct. You have HDMI, right? Yes.
Yes.
On this side.
Thank you.
Hopefully this just works. All right. And then what you see there is identical to what's on there when it's done. So if you have mirrored or whatever you do, yeah. So exactly what you see there is exactly what's there. And do you have audio coming out of the laptop? No.
It's nice having it. You can't rely on it too much. It'll lose me. Or do the wrong thing. You have to check them. But just all those characters are already there.
Trying to figure out how to do the dual screen. Let's see. Oh, I think I know. Let's see. Display setting. Yeah. So from duplicate to expand. Okay. Freeze under view. Let's try it again so it's in full screen. All right, I guess it doesn't want to be full screen then. Just try one last time, and if not, we'll do it like that. Oh well. All right, so hello everybody, I'm Drake Redwind, and today I'm going to talk with you about how to get started using Discord for meetings fast, no fluff included. Now, of course, for something like this, there will be prerequisites, and those are a computer and the Discord app. We need the desktop app as the web client is inferior. I know someone who can tell you just by mic quality whether or not someone is using a web client. I have no idea how they do this, but until they switch over to the desktop app, he mutes them. So, oh, sure. So until they switch over to the desktop app, he mutes them. So that should give you some indication. So in this talk, I'll cover the following topics: basic Discord navigation, basic meeting setup, and meeting troubleshooting. Many of you will be able to tell that this is Discord. Others have just been invited to Discord and would like an explanation. And a few of you just need a quick refresher without the fluff. This is where I come in. So, Let's quickly go through some of these buttons. This is your DM button. This button is used to direct message someone. If you want to chat privately or send information that's not for the group, you can do it here. And you can tell we are in the DMs because it's blue and there's a long white rectangle next to it. And if a new person wants to make your acquaintance, it will show up here in one of these two spots. When we click on friends, it will take us here where we can see our friends that are online, pending, suggested, blocked, or all. You'll also be able to see which friends are active. You can join them in activities. Discord is a great place for communities. The rest of the circular buttons are for servers you have joined and can be visited with a single click. So let's pick a simple one at random. Say this one, just for an example. No particular reason, yeah. Just for an example. Click. This is the welcome page for San Diego Python. Not all Discord servers have a welcome page, but this one does because it's pretty cool. Am I right? Yeah. So, straight off the bat, we have your welcome message and a link to give to your friends so that they can also join San Diego Python San Diego Python group. Did everyone get that? Yeah? Great. Then moving on, let's see a link to give to your friends. That's right. Here we can see all the members of a given Discord server. This is one of the ways I can see if someone new has joined the Discord and wish them happy birthday. It seems like we had about 7 people join since last week, so that's pretty good. On the left side, we can see preceded by a hashtag, a text channel. This is where people are able to put thought to pen, or in any case, keyboard. This particular text channel, Python Questions, is for asking your burning questions about all things Python. Where a text channel is noted by a hashtag, a voice channel is noted by a megaphone. Just please don't bring a megaphone to the meetings, huh? You can see everyone who is in any given voice channel on the left side panel. As you can see, Matt has muted themselves. They could be waiting for another collaborator or waiting for anyone to stop by and say hi. So if you see someone sitting in a voice channel, don't be afraid to say hi. Just remind them that they're muted and give them a while to answer. By left-clicking on Matt, we can see his username, user ID, how many mutual servers we have in common, and directly send them a DM. We are also able to quickly accept or deny a friend request. And by clicking on the 3 dots, we are able to view their profile, block, report, copy their username or user ID. Moderators are also given the option of viewing them in mod view. This is just a quick glance at what this view looks like, but moderation is beyond the scope of this talk. By right-clicking on Matt, we can see a list of options. Some of note are the user volume control. Discord allows their patrons to adjust the voice level of each individual and their shared screen separately. I usually like to turn this all the way up and lower people that are too loud. These are your personal options for each user. Using these buttons do not affect the other people. For instance, if you mute them, you can't hear them, but everyone else can. This will definitely make you look bad when you start over-talking them. It is true that sometimes Discord bugs out and makes you look like a jerk by not allowing you to hear someone as though this option has been turned on, causing you to unknowingly overtalk someone. Most of the time, this can be fixed by switching voice channels and coming back, but don't worry, the other people in the Discord are very prepared to forgive you, because it's likely happened to them too. All right, we finally got through the main UI. Now let's quickly talk about the settings and wrap it up. As you can see, there are a lot of settings, but that's okay. We're only going to focus on the voice and the video settings to get you ready for that next meeting. There are 3 main topics, or users, billing, and app settings. Well, for, but it's off screen and therefore doesn't exist. Anywho, the settings in question is in app settings and 3 down, voice and video. As you may or may not be able to see from the scroll bar, there are a lot of voice and video settings, but all we need to know right now is visible on this page. We have our input and output audio devices, input being microphone and output being speakers. I have my microphone set to the max setting because I generally don't talk very loud, or I'm told to get closer to the microphone. All right, so the mic test allows you to hear what you are saying through Discord. Don't worry, nobody can hear you scream here. So go ahead and try and talk while daffing yourself. Delaying auditory feedback, or DAF. Really quickly on DAF, even a small delay, around 200 milliseconds, can make it difficult for a speaker to speak fluently. You might experience stuttering, stammering, or difficulty forming words or even thoughts. DAF is sometimes used in speech therapy to help people who stutter by allowing them to practice speaking with a delayed auditory feedback. The idea is to gradually get them used to their own voice and then slowly shorten the delay. Alternative names for DAF, or delayed audio feedback, is also sometimes referred to as delayed side tone or auditory feedback echo. While DAF makes it difficult to speak, some research suggests that it might actually improve our ability to listen to others. This is because the delay feedback, speak to others. This is because the delayed feedback of our own voice allows us to focus more on an external sound, such as other people's. So you can keep that in mind while you're trying this out. Okay, almost there. 3 last settings. Input mode, there's only 2 options. Voice activity, which should really be called voice activated, means when you talk, people will hear you. When this mode is enabled, we can see input sensitivity settings. If you trust Discord to find the room ambience, which really works well, then you can toggle this switch. If not, have at the slide bar. Right? If people hear too much background, this could also make your voice cut out unexpectedly. If it does, you can either turn it down or try speaking louder. And left, if you have no room ambience or want to play an instrument such as a guitar or a piano for someone. And last but not least, push to talk. By default, this is left control, but this can be switched very easily. As you can see, I personally enjoy utilizing right control, as I tend to use left control too liberally and hear the toggle on-off sound too frequently, and that kind of bugs me. To alter the toggle shortcut, push this button, followed by the desired key you wish to associate with push to talk. And that's everything you need to know about Discord, for now at least. I'm still looking for work, so my 10% commission still stands for whoever helps me find or land a job. I now also have references available upon request. If you want to review this presentation again, the San Diego Python group has recorded it. You'll also be able to view it on my channel, Drake Redwind 01. The San Diego Python group has weekly meetings every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. or PST, Pacific time. Also, check out my site and development, which uses Python and Django. All I need now is to figure out how to show images, payments, and wallets at redwind01.com. Yeah, it's a weird thing. I have to use containers, and the database doesn't allow containers for some reason. Like, I don't get it. It holds everything else, but it doesn't hold pictures. Like, why? All right. So even when I'm trying to download all my data and put it back up, it gets everything else except for the pictures. It tells you where to find the pictures, but it doesn't put them there. All right, so if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them now. right, doesn't look like there's any questions. I got everything.
There was a difference between the web version and the app version. You said it was nerfed somehow. What kind of features are missing from the web version?
I think it has all of the same features. It's just it doesn't work as well. Yeah, and then also there's more instances of not being able to hear other people in the group if they're on the web version, and you know, there's a few things. Thank you.
Whenever we meet on Saturdays, we use Discord. So we have a lot of people asking questions about how to use Discord channels. So all of these are very relevant.
Yeah, yeah. Jeremy was just saying how relevant it was. Yeah. And the other part where we're talking about the images, Jeremy and I know have been working with Drake on this. That's why it was kind of funny. Yeah. Anyway, classic user uploaded data versus not user uploaded data problems with websites. Anyway, I just wanted to say thanks to all of our speakers. Thanks to Qualcomm for having us. Thanks to Neo4j for giving us some great pizza, and thanks to JFrog. And thank you for attending and checking us out on the stream and all that. And yeah, we'll be here next month. All right. Yeah. They go to the YouTube channel.